Hey guys, you're watching Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and to our podcast on all streaming platforms. Welcome to another episode of Just Hoop Talk. You're with your hosts Justin Henry and Will Thompson, and today we have a special guest, Tracee Morgan, social media producer for the Sacramento Kings social media team. What's going on, Tracee?
Hi, Justin. Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you on, man. And it's a kind of crazy time we're in right now, and I know the NBA is on pause, but I want to hear a little bit about just the social media in general, man. The Sacramento Kings social media channel is one of the top, actually ranked number one by Complex Magazine as a top social media account in the world. So we want to find out a little bit more about you, though, Tracee. Talk a little bit about how did you even land this gig? Where did it all start from?
I like to say it's luck, really, that I did this. So, in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm from Maryland. I'm from the DC area. So, I thought, well, I don't know what I want to do. So I'm going to work on Capitol Hill or something like everyone else. I'm going to be a lawyer because it's super easy. So I majored in government and politics, and that's what I got my degree in. But I at the time, my pro fight, well, if no one knows what that is, like I'm in a sorority, what they would call like your big sister, my pro fight was like, I didn't have any internships and I was a junior. And she was like, you should be ashamed of yourself for not having any internships. So after that, I went out and got internships. My friend helped me get one at CBS in New York, doing publicity in their department. And then I eventually got Discovery Channel, Nat Geo Channel, Element, a PR firm. So I thought I was going to keep doing TV stuff. And then this is another side note, but LinkedIn is very important, very, very important. Because after college, I ended up getting a job at Showtime, but they reached out to me about that job. I never even applied to Showtime, and they reached out to me to do it. So I worked at Showtime for 2 years. I did TV programming, which is basically, you know how you watch like Game of Thrones or something, and then before it comes on, it'll be like TVMA for graphic violence, adult language. I'm the one who watches the shows and I assign it ratings before it goes on TV.
Okay.
That's what I did.
That's interesting.
And I schedule everything. So if you watch something at 9 o'clock, I'm the one who put it there for you to watch it at 9 o'clock, pretty much. But then when I got the job at the Kings, I didn't even know about it. They also hit me up on LinkedIn about this job. I never even knew about it. They just hit me up and asked if I want to apply.
That's dope.
So I did, but it was for a production manager, not for social. And it was because I did scheduling. And scheduling production and scheduling I did at Showtime, two different things. But I said, let me take a chance and move to California, because at that time I lived in New York. And I was like, I'll move to California for a year, do this job, and then I moved back to New York just to say I get the experience. And I've been at the Kings for 2.5 years now.
I bet you didn't have that Tiger King in your avatar, did you? No, that's awesome. And I mean, so starting off, they were just like, here the Keystar social media account, or how did that all happen?
My bosses ended up changing, both of them that hired me when I got there. And I basically told my boss at the time that, my new boss would be Andrew Nicholson, who's the head of digital. And he ended up taking over the content team, which is where I was on. And I said, I honestly think I'm just gonna go back to New York. There's nothing really here for me. And he gave me a real opportunity and said, well, if you're interested in digital, we would love for you to be a part of this team. So he really is the one who gave me a shot to actually do it. Because I told him I'm just going to go back home. And he could have just been like, okay, that's fine. But he gave me a shot. And then I ended up taking over Stockton, mainly because no one else wanted to do it. So it was the perfect opportunity.
So Stockton
and
Kings?
It went really well. Yeah, Stockton Kings, our G League team. And it went really well. We won Social of the Year the first year ever. That's my first year doing social. And then I did more Kings stuff, Kings games, road trips, all that good stuff, and it eventually built from there.
That's dope. So you didn't have a ton of social media experience coming into it?
Not at all. But I will say I learned more in the content side. I knew I wanted to learn Photoshop, Premiere. When I first started working at the Kings, I didn't even know how to cut anything on Premiere. I was like, wow. I didn't know how to cut. I didn't know how to do anything. The production guys would be showing me, and then after work, I would take Linda classes and Skillshare to build up and learn. And now I easily make videos in Premiere and Photoshop and After Effects all the time.
Dude, that's awesome. And so you basically took like a media criminal justice, you just like turned that all into
Yeah,
somehow a social media account
yeah.
manager position, man. That's awesome. And then the number one account too for Stockton. So what was their presence like before you joined the team? Whereas like Stockton, Sacramento, did they even have a social media presence, or like
They
did you
really
have to?
didn't have a social media presence. Well, before Stockton was here, they were the Reno Bighorns. So we didn't even, their social person wasn't even included with us, but they really didn't do anything on social before we decided to take it over. And then it just went really well. And the G League told us, well, they told me because I went to a Stockton game and they were there, and she said, you guys were so great because it was your first year and you guys had an identity and knew things you wanted to do. And us as a G League don't even know what we want to do, or I can't identify like what exactly kind of brand we want to be. And you guys figured that out in one season. So that was a really good compliment. And that's just a testament to the team, because obviously I learned from them. I didn't know a lot going in. Like, I'm still learning, but just how far I've come from, I remember the first kind of brainstorms I had on the team, like, it's like, man, these were some dumb things I was saying. But I've gotten so much better. So it's luckily like having a great team around me, honestly.
Well, that's good. And it seems like the content, you mentioned identity. Talk a little bit about that. What is the identity of the Stockton Kings and Sacramento Kings? Like, how did that transition? Because most sports teams initially, so if you think about 3 to 5 years ago, most sports teams, you post a highlight, somebody's birthday, you're celebrating a team achievement. We have 16 championships, whatever the record is. It was pretty stale. And this identity that you guys have brought to the table is a lot different than we've seen. You kind of transcended the game.
Well, like you said, as someone, probably talking about the Lakers, 16 championships. Obviously, the Kings have not been a good basketball team for a very long time. So when you're not good, it's like people don't want to just see, oh, here's these highlights from another losing game. So you have to innovate in the way you create content so people will still enjoy your channel. And we want to be global in the fact that you don't have to watch the Kings at all to know that we have great memes or great Instagram or Twitter, Facebook content. We want to be able to reach people that don't watch basketball, that may watch basketball, maybe a casual fan, but they see our content and be like, well, this is funny. I'm going to follow you, even though I'm not a fan of the Kings, but I'm going to follow you anyway. So you just had to innovate and create to still get people to come view your content.
See that content. I see that comment all the time. Like, I don't like the Kings.
Yeah.
I follow the page.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like kind of a slight. It's like, be a fan of the Kings, but I get it.
Something that I wanted to bring up that I've seen from you in person, like seeing you at the games, is just that pressure, like, of the timeline, right? Like, so something happens and you have to be able to deliver like right away. So talk a little bit about that. Like, whether the Kings win or lose, you got to have something ready to say, kind of either way.
Like our meetings post game, like what we end up doing, or just in like the entire game.
Yeah, just being on social media, because I think so many people think like it's this easy, fun job, right? Like, it's just like chilling on my phone, posting things, and like there's a lot of pressure involved in it, right?
Yeah, like I didn't realize that either. People think I literally just at my computer all day, just tweeting out messages, just on Instagram scrolling, when it's so much more than that. When I first started, like, doing Kings games was so much pressure to me, and Stockton was so much easier because, no one really knows anything about Stockton. It's okay if a tweet doesn't hit or something like that.
Yeah.
Kings, it's like they'll let you know, like, this is a terrible tweet, I'll delete it. Oh, who does this? Or like, so I felt so much pressure at first, and then I learned, like, you just gotta do it. People are gonna be mad either way, or people are gonna like it. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, and the game goes so fast that you don't have time to be like, should I say this? Should I do it? I don't know if I should do it. Unless like it was a controversial thing, then sometimes I'll be like, oh, can I tweet this? Can I add someone? And then they'll say yes or no. But like, it's so much pressure sometimes, for me at least, because we have a teammate, Kyle Ramos. He is so good. And I'm gonna tell him I said this about him. He's so good at like coming up with stuff so quickly, like puns. Like when you see like puns and stuff, that's Kyle, because he's so good at it. I've learned from him, and I've started doing more puns because I'm used to being around him now. But someone like him, it comes really naturally and easy. And someone like me, I had to learn like all over time to like get this content out, get it out, make sure it's good, make sure everything's right, make sure the partner's tagged, do this, that. Like, honestly stressful. Sometimes game days are really, really stressful. And not just game days, but like because I also do Stockton and I run our 916 crew page. So it's coming up with creative content for 3 different brands all the time that's different from one another. And sometimes it's like, it's hard to be creative every day. So honestly, this break in the season has been a little bit refreshing, to be honest, because it's so hard coming up with I feel like it was so much pressure. So it's nice to be able to reset and be able to relax and then come back strong.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much going on in a season. There's highs, there's lows, there's winning streaks, there's losing streaks, there's happy fans, there's upset fans, and then not just that side of it, you're also dealing with your team too. Like, you guys are known as a meme page, but you still want to post highlights, and then you have things that need to be interactive and engaging. Talk about that coordination piece, because obviously you mentioned you have a team that surrounds you. You have somebody that really does puns, but there's media behind it. There's the actual posting, there's follow-up, there's the ideas, the brainstorming. What is that experience like working with your team?
So luckily we have one of the biggest digital teams in the league. So we have a multiple Slack channels. Like, we have our meme channel where we throw a meme so that way we'll know what we want to do. We have our game night channel where it's like, this is happening game night, do this, do this, do this. Make sure you have this like game night channel. There's our regular digital channel where we put like big news. And right now during the quarantine, we have a quarantine channel where it's like all the quarantine stuff. So we're always in constant communication about like, what do we want to do and mix up basketball. Like when we're not performing that well, it tends to be more meme content. But when, like how towards the end of last season, we were really going strong, more basketball content, more of that kind of thing. So because we are a basketball page first, just so people can see that we're actually pretty good. We're not just like, we're not bad anymore. Because a lot of people still think, like, to a casual fan, if you don't watch the Kings, so you probably still think we're just terrible. So you want to see like that different mix of content too, because meme would also make us like just a meme page. Even though we play into that, we still want to know that, okay, we have good basketball, and our content guys are so good at like making those highlights and mixtapes and stuff like that, that we don't waste their talents.
No, that's true. That's true. And I think that's another thing like I want to talk about is, you know, for you, obviously there's always like the meme, who's the guy behind this page, and being a female in sports. And talk a little bit about that, just being that female in sports, kind of being the presence behind the social media channel. What is that like? And does anybody like know, like, is it just a small circle of people who know that's you, or is it like a lot of people know that's you?
I think it's like a small circle that know it's me. J-Ram, Jordan Ramirez, I don't know if you know him, is like bigger because he has so many Twitter followers. There's like 15,000, and everyone knows he works for the Kings. So it's always, oh, J-Ram, you did this. And sometimes he doesn't even do it. It'd be someone else, or it'd be me, or it'd be someone else. But it's not that big of a deal. But I would say on Stockton more, when people say like, oh, you're like the guy or blah, 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 I'll be like, who said anything about being a man? Or I tend to use more female emojis on Stockton, just because, like, depending on what I'm talking about. Like if it's a guy, if it's like a play like Cody, I'm not gonna use a female emoji, you know. But like I tend to do that on like just basic tweets or like partnership tweets or something, just to show there's like a female presence here. And it's always funny too, because people do think it's just one guy behind our memes, when really, like I just told you, we have a whole meme channel, and every game day we have a meeting before the game and we make our memes for if we win or if we lose. Every game day. We're already prepared for both times. So it's like, and we all do it. Sometimes I make the meme, sometimes Kyle makes the meme. We have Hannah makes the meme. Like, it depends. So it's not just one person doing it. But on the Kings, it's kind of like the goal is, and this is something else that's why I was so worried when I first started, whoever does a game night, because obviously it's not the same person, you always want the audience to think it is one person. You have the same voice. Mm-hmm. You don't want it to sound like 7 different people are tweeting from this one account and be like, who is this? You want to have like the same voice. So that's everyone kind of be in the same step. And so on there, I'm not like, if someone's like, who's the guy? I won't comment from the Kings page and be like, it's not a guy. I just
I see that comment all the time. It's crazy. Like, you'll pay your guy more. You need to hire, like, give this guy a raise.
Social media guy. And I'm like, who said anything about a man? Especially some of our biggest memes. Hannah, she's so good at like making and finding some obscure stuff that we've done. And I'm just like she's so good at it. But doesn't get the recognition, man.
Yeah.
But I guess we get paid to be behind the scenes.
True.
Funny, I just saw the SpongeBob one, and that one like made me laugh out loud. Like,
yeah, we put that in our meme team. We talk about, well, I think that went our quarantine, but put that in and then talk about it. Then it's like, oh, that's funny. Let's put that up today.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know if we can do that. Like, I was gonna put up a meme. You know the meme that's like, did it work with like a thing and then the legs at the end? I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about.
See,
it's been like a recent meme, and I made one, but I was axed because it was too. The bosses would never approve it, so we couldn't do it. But it was funny. But it's stuff like that.
That's something I was curious about, because a lot of times, like when I see memes on the Kings, that's the first time I see that meme, you know, and I'm like, like what's like the research and development like on that stuff? Are you just like scrolling through memes, like everybody find five like fire memes or something like that? How does that work?
I know for me, some people like Kyle will follow, you know, the Instagram account Taquan. Like, he'll post a lot of memes. Or I don't know if Taquan is a one person thing or multiple thing, but I follow like Complex Sports. Complex will always do memes. Twitter, you could just scroll down your timeline and find some stuff. Sometimes I'll be like, let me go to the shade room, see what they've been posting. Like, you just go to different things and find. And sometimes it'll be like, I just randomly see something and I'm like, oh my God, this is so funny. I also have a friend he is super creative and super funny. He used to work at BuzzFeed and now he does like social and the video on like the Snapchat channel Brother HQ. His name is Kevin Chestnut. Look at me plugging him right there. But he just had a meme that went viral yesterday on the Shade Room that Don Lemon won with the hat with the Nas Ether thing. And I always ask him for memes because he's so good at finding and making them. So creative. So if I find something, a lot of times it's coming from him.
Dude, and I can only imagine the creativity. Like the laughs you guys have probably before you post this stuff is probably crazy, right?
Talk about that we wish we could have a page and we may do it one day.
Like the outtakes?
Like the meme graveyard, where the memes that we don't choose. And how funny they like the memes that don't get chosen or that we can't use, but they're hilarious. Like just put it, because sometimes we're laughing so hard. Like there's so much to choose from. Other times it's a struggle. Sometimes I will admit it's a struggle. It's like, dang, you have to use something that we put in this meme team months ago and try to find it again and make it relevant. Like sometimes it's hard.
I know it's got to be hard after a loss too, because people like they don't want to see that meme, bro. Like you know, I'm
say that would okay. So I'm still new, obviously, but last season, even after we lost, it wasn't bad. Like people were still like, you know, we're playing well, but this season. Oh my God! If you notice at the end, towards the end, we stopped doing them after a loss. Like people, the comments would just be just so terrible, man. Everyone's just like so mad. I'm like, calm down. This has clearly been but now it's like when people I get it. You have after being back for so long, expectations. People aren't living up to them. You just get angry. And you're like, no, I will see a meme, and so that's another thing. It's always like just pivoting to like expectations and then going back, like still not completely losing your brand, but also not trying to make fun of the fans that support you as a team, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of make fun of the fans, one of the more controversial posts or comments I've seen, I actually want to ask you about it and see if you know what I'm talking about.
I feel like I already know what it's going to be.
I was going to ask you, what's been one of the more controversial either posts or comments that you've had as, just during your time there?
I thought you were going to mention that Jessica thing.
De'Aaron Fox?
The De'Aaron Fox thing. Which, let me put it out there. I hope millions of people listen to this or watch this. That was not us. Like, we didn't say that. It was fake. It was fake. It was not us.
You said it was fake. How's it fake?
Someone like photoshopped it to put our face there, and it wasn't us. Because as soon as I saw it, I texted J-Ram and I said, oh my God, did you comment this? And he was like, no. And then if someone else comments, it would be normally Jason comments on stuff. So I was like, everyone's like, Jason, did you comment? He's like, no, like none of us did it. None of us did that. Like it was just made up, and it just blew up from there.
That's crazy. I remember seeing that and thinking, oh man, they were cutthroat, ruthless, man.
I know, it was just like, oh my God. I wish one of us did say it, but we didn't. And then after that, we had to like, I don't know if you also noticed, but we had to like chill on even replying to fans like we normally did.
Mm-hmm.
just because that's such a negative thing. We didn't do it. It was fake, but still, people thought we did. So I'm here to debunk them. We did not do that.
Man, well, talk about, that's a little bit of kind of that controversial side, but talk about like the achievement side, because obviously Complex recognized you guys as the #1 account, not just on Instagram, but Twitter, as the #1 account for sports teams. Talk about what that meant to you and your team, because you talk about the game day chaos, working with so many people, living up to expectations, and then to actually be crowned #1. That's a big accomplishment. Talk about what that meant to you and to your team.
That was awesome. We all loved it. We look forward to those like every year, just seeing like where we land. I think when I saw it, I was at like NBA league meetings with Jason, and we were like in the middle. We were looking at our phones like, and we couldn't say anything because like people were talking, and they were all in the Slack just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Jordan was getting the blog ready to write something, how you were like #1. It just feels good when like, you put in a lot of effort into your stuff and it gets recognized, And I think for a lot of the team, that's just like something like, wow, people recognize. I mean, we didn't win the NBA one, but I feel like NBA is kind of going in a new direction. I think the Clippers won, which is well deserved because they have like photo heavy, nice, artistic type content, like different from ours, but it's still really good. But so when we won Complex, that was awesome because we all love Complex. Who doesn't in our age group, in our social media world?
That's facts. Well, I was going to ask, who is your favorite account outside of the Kings? Favorite sports or basketball social media account to watch outside of the Sacramento Kings?
Favorite? I like a couple that I'll actually like. I do. I like, so for league meetings, at least our team and what we do, we pick 3 teams to vote on for the social award, like who wins. Obviously, we can't be one of them, but I think I definitely picked the Clippers. I want to say the Heat, and I picked the Orlando Magic because it was a throwaway vote because I couldn't decide on a third channel. But I love the Clippers account. I think like what they do is super creative. And I think, to be honest, the way social's kind of moving, a lot of it was memes. Now it's like that kind of artistic type photography things that we want to try to do too. We still want to do memes, but we want to try to get into that as well. And I love the way the Clippers do their stuff. It's always so creative. And the look, I love the look. I love the creative stuff they did. Like, I think at the beginning of the year, they did first day of the NBA season with all their players. And I said, oh my God, that's such a good idea. And on Stockton, I did first day of the NBA G League season because the Clippers, it was so good that I had to copy them. I copied them.
Hey, that's what they say. Copies are form flattery, so that's
dope.
But
I think I love the Clippers account. But lately, obviously the Bulls, because they have all that fire content thanks to the Last Dance. Like, their content has been so amazing. Like, matching up the photos to like the video, and I was at the Bulls offices last summer with Jordan, and I knew this was happening because they have this room in there with like all these photos that no one's ever seen before of like the 90s season throughout I've seen like there's photos in the locker room, there's photos of Jordan, there's photos that no one's ever seen that they're going to start doing an Instagram account where they're showing that kind of thing. And I think they're actually starting it now that the Last Dance is out, but their content right now is so good. But I'd say it's because of the Last Dance, that's why.
That's dope. And for you, like, you talk about that experience going to the Chicago office, and I know we've talked a little bit about like the success of the Sacramento Kings, accounts. But what about for you? What's been like the most, your most positive, or like a moment that you could just think of that surrounds your moment with the team? Like, is there any moment that just stands out, whether it's on social media, just being around the team, traveling, whatever it is?
Probably when I went to India with the team. That was such a life-changing experience, to be honest. Like, it was just so eye-opening to see the differences between India and America, and just like seeing all the kids and the people, like, and how different life is. Like, it really put things into perspective. And I think it did for the guys as well. Like, when we all went to the Taj Mahal, it was awesome, like getting content from them, like seeing their reactions to stuff. Everyone just in a really close group. At the hotel we were at, I think they rented out the whole hotel, so it was just us and the players. Like, so it was a great way to like bond in them, because with at least the NBA's G League's different. They like doing stuff. They like to be in the forefront because you don't get that opportunity a lot. But you're like, oh, I don't really want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. I don't have to do this. But like when you have experiences like that, they learn to trust you, that you're there because you don't just want content from them, but you're actually building a trust and a bond. And I feel like that experience really helped because a lot of them did a lot of stuff for me during the season because I asked for it, where they would say no to like other people. But I think that's because we built that rapport and trust in India and then throughout.
So, man, that's super dope. Well, I mean, for you, what's next? Like, where do you see? I know you talked a little bit about the artistic side of the Kings page, but for you, as somebody in that field in sports, where do you see yourself, Tracee? I want to know a little bit more about like what you kind of expect or what you want for yourself. You know, any goals that you have, or maybe if there's any positions that you're looking for, things you're trying to achieve. What's next for you?
What's next? Gosh, that question is always so hard. I never look that far into the future. I was like, I'm always go with the flow. Like whatever happens, happens. Because like I said, my job at Showtime, I didn't apply. This job at the Kings, I didn't apply. Like I just kind of gotten, I'm not gonna say just lucky because I've definitely worked a lot to be in the positions that I am, but it's kind of like right place, right time. I still don't know what I want to do in my life. I would love to continue at the Kings, you know, move on up, do more things, maybe work more on the just King side instead of King, Stockton, and 916 crew. But I also think it's great to be multifaceted, you know, be in all three. So I don't know. It's hard. I didn't really answer your question at all because I have no idea what I want to do next.
It's
My
good.
mom wants to move back to Maryland. I know that much.
Are you gonna go back there? You a Ravens fan?
No, I am from the DMV, which is PG County, which is the Redskins Stadium is probably like FedEx Field is like 10 minutes from my house.
I feel bad for you. You went from Washington and were a Redskins fan, came to
know.
the Kings, and they weren't doing good, man.
I know, but we're doing good now, okay? I'm a huge
Great.
It's so funny because like I'm one of those people that knew nothing about the Sacramento Kings. Nothing before I came here. And now I'm like the biggest, like, don't you talk bad about Marvin Bagley. You should, everyone on my team says I'm the president of the Marvin Bagley fan club. And I am. I love Marv.
I mean, there's Luka there, though. There's Luka.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. When he comes back, amazing, I want apologies from everybody.
You know, I think he's going to be a good player. I'm not sure. Obviously, Luka's a generational talent, but I'm not sure that Bagley can't be that. I think he hasn't had the chance with the injuries, and there's been a lot of downtime with him. But I think once he gets on the floor, I mean, he gets a little older, he develops. Like the sky's the limit for that kid. I think people are writing him off a little bit too soon.
They are, and that to me, that alone is like the hard part of social media because they're like comments aren't talking about me, but I still just like seeing negativity all day long when I'm on social media for 8+ hours a day and it's all negative all day. It's so draining. Like it's so exhausting. I feel like I was just about to have a breakdown before we had this break. Because it's just so exhausting to be negative all the time. But I have to build a thicker skin. That's what Jason said. Jason said he's been in it a long time, which he has. And more people, like I said, my other teammates are not as sensitive to it because they've been there longer. Me, I'm still like, why are everyone so mean?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully everybody, you know, the mood changes with everything that's been going on in the world. Hopefully the mood changes. You guys are able to kind of bring some more energy in the season, man. The season gets back in play because the Kings were just out of it. Looks like they were ready to make that last push.
Depending on what happens, I don't know if they're going to do not playoffs. They're going to finish regular season or just go to playoffs. I have no idea.
I hope we get to see at least a couple games.
I was ready for that Pelicans game. I was actually going to the game. I had great seats. I couldn't wait to see Zion, and then it all just went in that one night.
Man, I feel like everybody has a horror story from that night. Just going to the game and expecting to watch the game, and then just being shut down.
And after we're just like getting the messaging. I wasn't even working. Like I wasn't supposed to work that night, and I ended up helping, getting out messaging and stuff because I was like the only one at the arena. So like. Helping, doing that kind of stuff for the executives. So it's always on your toes. Social is different every single day. That's also what I love about it. You're never doing the same thing.
Man, that's true. And I saw you guys took a little break there for a second. Looks like things are coming back on. Yeah. Talk a little bit about where people can find your accounts, where people can find you at.
Well, let's see. My Twitter, Instagram, all the same. I am Tracee J, Tracee, 2 E's like Tracee Ellis Ross. And and LinkedIn. Tracee Moore messaged me on LinkedIn. Did another panel with something in the sports business. It was like 250 people, and I probably got over 100 something LinkedIn requests with notes. And it's so much to go through, but I know how much I've reached out to people on LinkedIn that I would love to do the same for other people. So I always reply and help out anyone that needs help or something. It would give my advice that I'm a nobody, but still I'm here to give advice.
No, you somebody. You obviously, like you said, you're kind of behind the scenes, but making an impact, Tracee. We got to connect on LinkedIn too, but appreciate you coming on and kind of telling everybody a little bit about some of the behind the scenes things that happens with one of the best accounts that people can follow.
Thanks, guys. I had fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to do it again, man.
I have my tag and my Joe Exotic in the background.
Yeah, I know you got some other ones back there too, right?
I do. Let's see. My favorite, though, which no one's going to know, is my RuPaul's Drag Race workroom.
Oh, gosh.
That's the best. Come on, everyone should be in the workroom. Oh, wait. Oh. That's a great one. And then my office.
Oh, there goes Stanley in the back, right?
Oh, there goes Stanley.
Still not working. Tracee, hey, we appreciate having you on, man, and we'll be in contact.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely, Tracee. Take it easy.
Thanks, you too.
For more NBA, college, and hoops coverage, be sure to subscribe to Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube and all streaming platforms.